Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow League of Legends enjoyers, enthusiasts. Um, I forgot what else. I was gonna say some other thing, but my mind is blanking. Anyway, we're here for patch 14.23 notes. It's been 2 weeks since the last patch notes, and I believe 2 weeks ago, if I remember correctly, I already had started my job. So that's crazy. We're almost 3 weeks into the job. I feel even worse than I did when I started. Things are proving to be true for my worst nightmares. Hopefully, it's not like that for League of Legends. Excuse me. So some things to talk about. We pretty much just are off of the World's Pass, which lasted for a long time, the longest pass of this year. Not to say we won't get one as long, but that'll probably be next year. But because Arcane is going on, Arcane is in full swing. Sadly, I'm not watching season 2 because of job, sorrow, and depression. But we will still not really cover Arcane, but we'll still cover League. Now, I don't know if there's going to be spoilers for Arcane here. There probably will be because I have seen some legendary skins get teased that are relating to Arcane, and they've had the spoiler title on them. So maybe that's coming right now. Maybe that's coming next patch. Maybe it's both. Who knows? But we have some stuff to talk about, and let's see what's going on. So we should get the Arcane Pass literally tomorrow. So in the week break I've had from League, that's all it is. It's a very short break. Hopefully that's how long my employment lasts, but it's not. Either way, let's get into it because we don't have much time. It's literally 12 a.m. I want to go to bed soon, and I have to because I have work. Get excited for the Arcane finale this weekend and for patch 14.23. So again, to kind of talk about Arcane, I don't know how season 2 is doing. I sort of asked around when the first batch of 3 episodes came out, and from what I heard, it was pretty good. I assume they already knew Arcane season 1 was going to be a hit, so they immediately started production on season 2, and here we are. I think they've struck gold. I think that this with along other gaming series that have turned into shows, especially the Fallout show. That show was amazing. When you follow the source material, when you respect it, it just gets it pays back dividends. Essentially, it's great. Just don't take it and try and make it your own. I don't know why all these gaming shows try and do that. But either way, hopefully after Arcane's over, we get more League shows with other regions because the League universe is deep and vast. And now that all the lore is canon, I can't wait to see what they show and what they do with hopefully some of the future stuff because we've only scratched the surface with Arcane being Piltover and Zon. That is like the almost the lowest you can do. I can't imagine any more like lore that's worse. And not to say the lore is bad, right? But in terms of the actual like grandstand things in League, like Mordekaiser, Asol, the Void, especially my one of my favorite things, I wonder if they're gonna even touch those things in show format. And I hope they do. Show movie format. I would prefer show. It's a longer run. It's better. It's more time. Um, but we'll see. But yeah, Arcane's ending this weekend. It's probably going to be great. But they did confirm, I believe, that this is the end of Jinx, Vi, and Zon Piltover. So we got to see where they're going to go next. Is that we're not going to get potentially more, though? I could see them doing an Urgot spinoff, hopefully. I mean, they could do one for almost any fucking champion, let's be real. But either way, that's enough about Arcane. Let's get into it. This patch has some small scale kit updates to Aurora, which is probably too good, Smolder, which is really bad, and Rel, which I don't know. For each of these champions, we're hoping to reduce the feeling of frustration and hopelessness when playing against them. Oh, so they're touching... I wonder if this is because of Worlds. There's no way, because Worlds was on a way earlier patch, and only pro players can really use him well, and even then, non-pro, he's really fucking bad, and he really only goes mid. He doesn't even go bot. Either because you're locked in place for several seconds, your minion wave keeps disappearing, that's probably Smolder. In each of these cases, we're delivering compensation buffs and giving them the space to be more fairly balanced. Again, I'm curious what they're going to do with Smolder. Aurora just keeps getting smacked, and I don't know why. I played her on release. I didn't think she was too strong, but the pros abused her. Either way, we're also adjusting a few attack damage items in Yomu's Ghost Blade. Ew. Yuntal Wild Arrows again. They just can't seem to get this item right. And the Collector. Oh no. The primary focus is a big buff to Yuntal. All they gotta do is put it back to what they used to have. Man, I thought that was pretty good. Which should make it appropriately powerful on crit auto attackers. So the main thing with Yuntal now is I feel like there's no room for it in the current build path. It's basically a first build item, right? Not first build, but like an early build item. You want to get it as soon as possible, as soon as you can, because you're stacking crit off of it, right? By hitting the enemy, you're getting more crit. So you are having an item that is probably gold efficient and is becoming better as the game goes on. It's a literal ADC item. It scales, but for some reason people aren't getting it. And when I thought about getting it, I just thought like the competition, aka the other items, it just didn't make sense. And it gives good stats, but it just doesn't give damage. It gives attack speed and some other shit, which we'll see later on. But I'm really curious to see what they're gonna buff with it. It's gone through a little bit of a metamorphosis, which is interesting. Metamorphosis. Anyway, finally, we've got the standard array of direct balance changes, bringing some of the game's outliers into more balanced states. In other news, we have a batch of arcane skins hitting the Rift. You can represent your favorite characters in game. So I believe this is the one with the Vi Legendary. That one's not a spoiler. And a slew of changes to the Bridge of Progress based on your feedback. Hopefully some of those stay permanent. Either way, this is where we're getting the Arcane TFT set. And ironically enough, because my friends are into it and because I got extra XP from the World's Pass if you play with friends, I ended up playing TFT a lot. We're still not going to go over the patch notes. I refuse to do that. But I've been playing TFT a lot. I completed the Battle Pass, actually bought it. And I'm kind of excited to play the new one too, especially if they have the friend thing again. I don't think they will. I hope they will, but we'll see. Either way, we're skipping patch highlights, and now we're going to see briefing and champ select. So again, Riot always seems to be combating, and this is something I do respect, right? League is a very different game from what it was back then. Back then, and this is just gaming culture in general. Back then, it was the wild fucking west. People were toxic, they were venomous, they were heinous, they were charlatans, hooligans. Debauchery was going on. Like, you could say nearly anything to anyone, and yeah, sure, you might get banned, you might not, but it was just widespread. And now we've seen a culture shift, especially with cancel culture. But even in League, they are not stopping on this crusade. This is like, in some ways good. It really has nothing to do with balance, but I think overall it's good. Obviously, some old school people, similar to me, are not going to enjoy this. I'm kind of in the middle. I can see both sides. Obviously, you want to have friendly game banter, like, oh yeah, you're shit, oh no, you suck, right? I think that's fine. But at this point in time, if you call someone like a poopy head or something, you really could get banned. I don't usually say anything because I don't want to talk to these these ingrates in League. Um, but it's a weird line. But overall, I think it's a positive that they've targeted one of the most toxic games and they've made it somehow not as toxic. It's actually crazy. But that could also be just a general culture shift as well. Either way, we highlighted this in the August devlog, but anti-griefing efforts are still underway, and we are expanding that in this patch. So now in the lobby hostage-taking and champ select phase. This means demonstrating intent to sabotage your teammates, whether it's by forcing a hostile role swap or threatening other players in the lobby. Starting in 14.23, offenders participating in these behaviors will find themselves taking a break from playing League for a bit. Wow, so sit on the bench. As always, it's important to recognize that we are not and will not be penalizing off-meta decisions. So one of the big things that I heard happened, I don't know if it was that recent anymore, but DeBoss, the Inting Scion guy, actually got permabanned. Or not permabanned, but he got banned, and obviously they undid it, I believe. I hope. They undid the ban, but he got banned for playing how he usually plays. And the new system, it's probably more AI automated for sure. It's probably, not as I don't want to say not as human touched, but the more people play League, the more you're going to need automation. People just can't keep up. There's not enough people to moderate things. So the new system kind of did catch that, and that's a little concerning. It's a little dystopian too, because they say one thing, but we see another, but they obviously probably fixed it since then, so there might be some hope. Either way, the key here is distinguishing the intent, and that's hard to do from a non-human perspective. They really can't have AI do that, at least yet. While differentiating between the two can often be difficult, we will continue to improve our automation efforts. There it is, ChatGPT. In the meantime, you can help by using the report function judiciously. Cool. QR code login. You can now log in using QR code. Very nice. Ambessa. Ambessa, I've played her like, I think twice. I think no more than twice, sadly, because I just haven't had the time and there's no pass out. She's weird. So this is a classic case from what I've seen, because I played Clash over the weekend and I won both games. I'm the Clash winner, easy. Um, she's a champion that's interesting. I played her. I've seen her. I thought she would be built as a top lane bruiser, and she's basically being built kind of like an assassin. Now, sadly, the assassin build, from what I've seen, is working more. And this is where, again, it's the case of Riot says, hey, we want her to be this. Hey, do this with her. And the community's like, no, this sucks. We're doing it this way. Sometimes Riot likes that. Sometimes they don't. I personally feel Mbessa is either A, not in a spot that Riot wants, or B, not in a spot I expected, or C, not that strong, or it could be all the above. So we're gonna see what they do. I would expect buffs though, personally. I feel like she's kind of weak, especially because, I think champions should come out OP. It leads to more hype. It's just better overall, even though it's a little bit of a nightmare for some people. Nothing's gonna be perfect. I think a better state is to have them OP than tune them down. But maybe they think something different from that. But Mbessa's interesting. We're gonna see what they do. We're keeping Mbessa's tuning state the same for this patch, but there are some small bugs to fix and minor quality of life to improve. We're matching Q2's hold duration to her passive and fixing some bugs. So this is where it could be a Briar situation for sure, where she actually might be really good and we just need to learn how to play her. That could definitely be the case. I'm learning my lesson from that Briar incident. But we gotta see. So the Sundering Slam cast window is now 4 seconds. Cool. And then the passive dashes no longer go over player created terrain, so that's a nerf. And then the R, movement command issued before successful cast will be discarded after slamming the enemy to avoid pathing the player towards a place they no longer are near. Okay, cool. So that's a pretty good bug fix. So yeah, they're keeping it the same, slight quality of life change. Nothing more to say there. Aurora, all abilities adjusted. Holy freaking moly. So like I said, I think Aurora came out. I thought she wasn't crazy, right? Like, I didn't feel strong, but I was consistently doing the most damage in the game. The pros absolutely grabbed her by her very nice, cute, furry, fluffy bunny legs and spread her open and abused her in all the wrong ways. And now we're leading to basically just constant nerf after nerf after nerf. I don't know when it's going to be enough, but the fact that they're adjusting everything means they might be going off the deep end here. Let's see. We're changing Aurora to make her a bit easier to pilot for less experienced players and less frustrating for her opponents. I don't know how they're doing both. The high uptime movement speed from her passive and the ability to trap opponents with her ultimate has been removed. What? What? Have been removed? What? I'm surprised they took out the ult thing. Okay, the bonus move speed, whatever. But the ult trapping? That was one of the unique things. Damn, this is like some Aatrox treatment. Excuse me. Oh my god, it's making me throw up. Anyway, we have a bit of compensation buffs via on-demand move speed through W. Yeah, they better have some compensation buffs. Holy shit. A bit more range and damage on her conventional damage spells and more space to hop during her ultimate. Let me see this. So her passive, no more move speed, which I thought it was kind of wiener. But what was really wiener was the heal. The heal sucked. But somehow they keep that. So the Q is going up in cooldown. The range is going slightly higher. The cast is getting buffed. Now automatically recast if the duration runs out without a recast. Oh, that's actually insane. I don't know why you would never recast it. Maybe because you don't want to fuck up the wave. That's the only thing I could think of. But they're taking that ability away from you. But it's overall doing more damage. So, that's interesting. I think the 1 second cooldown is fine for what they're giving here. W, now you get move speed on cast. That's pretty good, and I think this actually feels a lot better anyway. It's more on demand, which is nice. And it's higher too. It's more bursty, but it's higher. And then E, the weirding. This thing already was kind of long as shit. Now it's even longer. That's a little dangerous, because I think some people do max E. I'm not sure. And then the R, what are they doing here? So the duration is a lot longer. Now, no longer traps them inside. It will slow them if they touch the exit. I think the slow... Obviously, it shouldn't be like Threshold, which is 99%. I think putting it at 80 is fair, though. Now grants the same amount of move speed granted by W instead of amplifying Aurora's current move speed. Cool. So I wonder if you still bounce around inside of it, or do you get move speed if you try and leave it? Because if the enemy could just walk out of it and leave, but if you try and chase them, it bounces you back. That's kind of stupid. I guess at that point, I don't remember if you can actually take down the ult on your own if you just press R again, but that might be something they might have to look into. But Aurora seems, yeah, a lot better for bad players. I mean, it really begs the question, was the problem in high elo the ult trapping people? Maybe. But I think she's definitely going to be more fun for people like me. And I'm not bad. I'm good. I'm just saying people who want to do more damage. Either way, that's Aurora. Azir. Azir, I haven't really seen him. I feel like he's not that strong. He should be a scaler, but I think he takes too long to scale, and his scaling isn't crazy. But it could be sleeper because it could be the fact that a lot of his items, I think mage items in general are in a kind of good spot now, so maybe we just haven't caught on. But let's see. We've recently walked back several Azir nerfs that didn't have the effects we want to, and he still got some room for additional power, so they're giving him a buff. The damage is going up by about 5%. Cool. He's slightly better. Caitlyn. Caitlyn is getting a skin. I'm assuming she's getting buffed because it's Arcane season. And again, she's getting a skin. Let's see. Caitlyn is performing too well overall. You know what's crazy? I haven't seen Caitlyn in the slightest, so I'm actually glad I completely skipped on the Caitlyn being too good. Especially when it comes to bursting down her enemies, with Collector only receiving a very small nerf and Yuntal getting significant buffs, Caitlyn is in need of a small slap on the wrist. We're taking out her scaling spell damage to make her late game more about basics and less about chunking her opponents out of range, which is kind of what she's known for. She's a sniper. Either way, so the R damage, which I think is just literally used for poke, is getting 1/3 of its damage taken away. Wow, that is a decent nerf. Holy shit. I mean, I feel like the old late game didn't really matter anyway, unless you're going maybe lethality. And even then, if you have a tank or a bruiser, they just tank it. It really doesn't do much. I don't think this nerf is somewhat warranted, but maybe we gotta see the items. But either way, I'm glad Caitlyn's getting nerfed. I don't use her. I don't like her. Whatever. It's mainly just how her autos feel. Okay, Jinx. Again, it is Arcane season. These champions should be getting buffed, right? People are getting drawn in from the show. They're like, oh, I want to try the champions I saw in the series. You know, let me try Jinx. And then she's shit, right? Hopefully they buff her. I can't see them buffing her because I still think Jinx is always going to be one of the best ADs in the game if she has what she has in her kit, which is the insane range and everything. She's literally like one of the classic ADs that will kill you with mainly autos. W's there to augment. It hits one person. It could get easily blocked. The E is just there for kind of peel setup. The ult is a finisher. It's really just about autoing the shit out of them, and I love it. Either way, what are they doing? 80 growth increased, W damage decreased. What? Lethality caster Jinx is currently going around causing chaos right now? What? The only thing is that this level of chaos isn't quite enough to warrant any nerfs. Yeah, because it's only one ability, one hit, easily blocked, very telegraphed. So instead, we're giving Jinx a bit of a boost to incentivize her to opt into builds that lean into her identity as an actual old school crit ADC. So the attack growth is going up, and then the W damage is going down with total AD. Okay, so again, I'm assuming this is better for crit, and if it is, I'm happy. Great. Kha'Zix. Everyone knows what I think of this champion. If you've seen me before, I hate Kha'Zix, I hate Lee Sin, I hate Elise. They either need to be reworked, removed, or something. Who knows? Kha'Zix sucks. Next in line for Arcane ADC changes, we have Kha'Zix. Wait, what? ADC? He's been a top tier jungler for a while. Kind of true. I have seen Kha'Zix kind of doing a decent amount of damage. And is even happier and happier with the new faster Yomus, since volatile high risk high reward combat is what assassins like Kha'Zix are all about. We're increasing the risk side. So his armor is going down, and again, the less you have, the more it matters, so that's decently big. And then the evolved slow is going down as well. He's worse. He already kind of sucked in my eyes. Kog'Maw. Oh man. Oh man. Okay. So something's weird here. I obviously love Kog'Maw. When I looked up the tier list when I was playing Clash, I saw Kog'Maw was one of the top ADs, and I'm like, wait, that doesn't seem right. Because it's mostly with the items, because Cog's kit has relatively gone unchanged since, you know, the reversion from the rework all those years ago. This is where Cog, because of the items more specifically, does not feel as strong as he used to. He still does good. He still does pretty well. He's still a late game really good carry. Just does not feel as crazy as he used to be. But when I saw the tier list and I saw what they were doing, I sort of threw up in my own mouth a little bit. I was like, wait a minute. They're doing like AP Kog'Maw? And, you know, it's not like that's unheard of, but they were doing it bot lane. And I'm like, oh, Riot's not going to like this. Lo and behold, here we are. I really hope they give Kog'Maw a fucking update, man. Like, I hope they rework him, because realistically, he has no passive. His passive is very, very gimmicky. Feast or Famine, not good in you know, very generalized play. If you're doing good, you basically have no passive. Kind of same thing with Karthus, but different effect. Kaguma is basically just a W. His other stuff can be used, and it should be used, obviously, but if you only had the W key on Kaguma, you'd still do 90% of the things you're going to do, at least on hit. But I would love to see Kaguma buffed again. He doesn't feel as good as he used to. I want to see Prime Kaguma always. And this is where, when they were considering giving him a rework and they made us vote for it, they said if Kog'Maw won, they'll try and keep his AP, but they will let it go to, cement and seal in his ADC Kog'Maw tendencies. And I really hope they lean into that more here. Emax is silly, it's gimmicky, it's stupid, it's outdated. It would never be released today with the champions we're getting now, but I think it's a nice little relic of the past. I'm not totally against it. But what are they doing? Following players have recently discovered the joy of Emax AP Kog'Maw. Wow. While mid laners are used to high wave clear mages and have to think about assassins who can punish this behavior, bot lane isn't as capable of dealing with this type of playstyle. This extremely safety leads to much less interactive gameplay than the on-hit Kog'Maw. Yes. Even if they win the same amount of number of games, so we're delivering a simple nerf to limit the build strength. So even though, and this is interesting, usually they like to go by the numbers, they like to go by the win-loss ratio. This is where they're stepping in and saying, like, oh yeah, even though it's the same, we just don't like it. That's interesting. So the Q Armored MR Shred is going down early, up later, because you're usually maxing this in AP Kog'Maw last. And then the E is going down in scaling and down in base damage by a good hefty amount too. Wow. Yeah, AP Kog'Maw's worse. AD is pretty much the same. He still builds some AP and on hit AD Kog'Maw, but it's whatever. Yi. Yi is interesting. Obviously, if you're Cowslip, Yi is always going to be pretty decent. I don't think he's that good. I think he could use a buff. I think a lot of people come out now, Briar, Kane, I don't really know who else, but a lot of other junglers I feel like just have kind of pushed Yi down to a point where, again, Yi is very simple. He's like trend. He still can work, but it just feels like he's slowly either needing a rework, gameplay-wise, or just, oh, this is a League song too, look at that. This is from the Diana sessions, but, back to Yi. So Yi is an interesting case. I think he could definitely use a buff, and I think he's starting to really get outdated because he's too simple. And there's nothing bad about that, but you need to just really give them a number buff. So what are they doing? Has to use a touch weak after Blade of the Ruined King's nerf, which is his main item. We're going to give him a bit more about the late game carry power that he's known for. We want to make sure Highlander feels like the high point of power, so they're amping it. So the attack speed is going up. I don't really think he needs too much attack speed, but I guess that does sort of compensate for the damage loss, so that's cool. Misfortune! MF. What do I think of MF? I think MF is decent. I think she's, pretty niche. She's kind of like a sort of different Caitlyn in a way, where Caitlyn is supposed to be an auto attacker, but she's a hybrid, caster as well. Not as much as Lucian is, but Lucian's also a little weird too. MF is there, but she mainly wants to hopefully build crit and not lethality, because her ult's crit. But basically she's kind of an ult bot in lane and mid game, and you kind of can't ignore it too much, but her Q is basically the second most important part of her kit, then the W, then the E, depending on what you value. She doesn't do damage, but she's mainly an ult is deciding the team fight sort of thing. It's kind of like Rumble. Like Rumble, the other abilities matter, especially if you use them well. I would argue they matter as much, if not a little bit more, than MF's usage, if she's smart with it. But I really just think it's just kind of the same thing with Kog'Maw. If you just ult, you're good. Misfortune's a bit weak at the moment, and 2 of her common items are being nerfed. We're preemptively buffing her. Are they buffing her? The mana cost of the Q is going down. Cool. Nothing. Stupid. Ramus is interesting. Again, he's super niche, mainly for ADC people. Or, not ADC people. ADs to get countered. Not ADCs, but ADs this time. Usually ADCs are getting the shaft, not this time. I haven't seen too much of Ramus, but I can't imagine he's too bad. There's no way. Ramus has wound up a little weak, especially for such an AD-heavy jungle meta where we should be on a roll. We're buffing his early Powerball cooldown. Oh, wow. So his cooldown is going, oh my god, that's actually a huge buff. What the fuck? 16 to 12 is insane early. Wow. You're shaving off 25% essentially. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, Ramus got a decent buff. Okay, Rel. Oh man, this is basically gonna be a whole fucking essay. Oh boy. I don't really know what to say about Rel. I think Rel is good. I think ever since the rework, I've seen her overall less. I don't know if that means she's worse. I still think she's okay, but I feel like she's a high skill cap champion, where to do good on her, you kind of do have to try a little bit. It's like the harder but more rewarding Rakan, kind of. What are they doing? We're delivering a kit update to Rel with a few goals to get us towards similarly balanced versions that's more fun and interactive and engaging. OP. So first, they're going to increase Rel's opponent's access to counterplay. Much of her kit perfectly combos into itself, meaning Q Flash typically guarantees the entire rest of her kit, which it should. You're using Flash. Excuse me. Regardless of whom she's fighting, which again, you're using Flash. We're lowering her overall crowd control and ensuring. Okay, I don't like this so far. Ensuring that spells such as Crash Down properly interact with Tenacity. Oh. We like to make her kit feel better to play, or just better to play for you. Her crowd control strength warped the rest of her kit around it, which is fine. She's a support, she's an engage, making her have low and unsatisfying damage values, which is fine. A fairly miserable feeling dismounted form, which is true. But ever since the W change with Blitzcrank, that's kind of what they want. They want you to suffer for your success. Overall lack of difference between being mounted and unmounted. We're changing a whole bunch of numbers, reintroducing her passives on hit damage. Oh, so they want to make her a slow yet tanky duelist? What? While ensuring the mounted flavor is fast but meaningfully squishier. Making her attack smoother and bring up her power in several areas. Okay. So thirdly, they're delivering some simplifications to better match how players expect Rel to act. Her bonus move speed and mounted form is now based on her points in W. Oh! Her active move speed on E is now more straightforward instead of ramping up by very small amounts. W is the most players assume was her most important skill, is now actually her best first max instead of the worst one. Oh, okay, cool. So a bunch of base stat changes. I'm not going to look at all these too much. Okay, so armor growth, it's lesser, so she's squishier for sure. MR, same deal. Mana, don't care. Mana regen, don't care. Move speed is getting heavily nerfed. My goodness gracious, this is a very important stat. Attack speed is going up, sadly. Attack wind up is getting buffed. Attack speed animation is now better. And then passive. So tacked on deals 5% of total armor MR on hit. Cool. And then she steals more. The Q stun duration is slightly down. The W now stuns enemies, and there's no longer a slow if you're dismounted. The cooldown is lower. The knockup is a lot lower. And then the dismounted and mounted MR and attack speed have been adjusted. Interesting. And then the mount up. Same thing. Knockup duration, unchanged. Stun duration is less. Mounted move speed is kind of nerfed. Wow. Interesting. So to kind of get the move speed back that you need to max W now. And then the E, full tilt, which is what people are going to be going on. Movement speed no longer ramps up. The cooldown is a lot lower. The damage now scales. Interesting. There's a damage cap. The initial move speed is buffed. The initial move speed running away is nerfed. The maximum is nerfed. And the maximum move speed running away is nerfed. Damn, so the E got giga nerfed. This is kind of going back to an old Rel. I don't think this is good. It's weird. You're going to feel better, but you're going to feel less effective. Like, what you're trying to do is going to feel better. You're going to feel tankier, do slightly more damage. And, the W is going to feel not too bad either, especially because they're taking away the slow when you're unmounted. But it's just not going to be as impactful, which, even though it feels better, it's not doing better. So will it really feel better holistically? I don't think so. I think Rel is honestly worse from this. Rengar is interesting. I don't know what to think about Rengar. I either hear he's great or he's terrible. I think he's way more easier to balance than Kha'Zix. I also think he's kind of a little bit more useful than Kha'Zix in certain ways. But we gotta see. Rengar typically sits at lower win rates due to how difficult he is. Even when accounting for his learning curve, he's a bit weak, so they're buffing him. So they're giving him more armor shred by not too much. And then bonus damage, Jesus Christ, they doubled it. It is on his ult though, but damn. Excuse me. Whew. Okay, this is a pretty big buff for Rengar just by the numbers alone from what I think. The armor shred, not really. the bonus damage a little bit. Like, holy shit. Yeah, ADs beware. Shyvana. I have barely seen Shiv. I don't know which one is in meta right now. I don't know if it's AD or AP or what, but let's see. Shyvana regained almost all win rates she lost since her last nerf, so we're revisiting her sooner than we anticipated. She's still substantially overperforming the lower skill bracket, so we're skewing those nerfs to that skill bracket in particular. She's quite resilient when combining her base stat growth and bonus resists from passive, which she infinitely scales on technically. So we're lowering these late game base stats to make it so she can still end up squishy. Cool. So her MR is going down, and then her E is getting nerfed AP wise. So AP Shiv is what was meta. Would still be meta? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know, because again, they did say Blade got nerfed, which she does kind of use. Runs a little bit worse of a Sparta. Skarner. This champion, similar to Aurora, I don't know like what the fuck is going on with this guy. I feel like this rework low-key, at least in my mind, kind of failed. It didn't, but it sort of did, right? He came out very, very broken. Same thing with Aurora. I played him, he felt like shit to me. And now they just keep nerfing him because he's a balance issue. So what are they doing? Probably gonna nerf him again. Skarner is still the strongest jungler in the game. I have no clue how. Dealing a boatload of damage for how tanky he is, which has been his constant issue. We'd like to retain that he's a high gold scaling tank, but typically his damage scaling a bit more towards building AD. What? So his Q is losing out on bonus health damage by 1%. Decent. He's slightly worse. Whatever. Okay, Smolder. So it's not the same paragraph as Rel, which is sad, but man, do we have a lot of shit to fucking talk about with Smolder potentially. So let's see. Smolder was very interesting. He was grossly, disgustingly overpowered when he released. I think that Riot sort of dropped the ball with that, and again, it kind of goes into the thing that happened with Mbessa, from what I said before. It's what Riot wants, and then what actually happens, what people do. They wanted Smolder to be a traditional, kind of classic, simple ADC for beginners, and he was that, but he wasn't just for beginners, he was for everyone because he was so fucking good. So they also had to nerf him because he had infinite execute, infinite true damage, max health scaling. Like, it was ridiculous that both scaled the way they did. I wish they kept it that way because it was good, and ever since then, I feel like there's more time when Smolder is ass more than good. So I really don't know what they're going to do, but, you know, we'll see. In his current state, Smolder is a bit too good at stalling out games. Not really, which gives him plenty of time to accrue stacks and get his powerful late game state. No, he's not solo queue. Executing all stand his way, we're not looking to make his stacking mechanic pointless, but do want to shift how much power comes stacks and out of those stacks and gold. He'd still be the premier scaling ADC, yeah, it's an understatement, but in a way that isn't solely dependent on stacking, which also helps remove his pro skill skew. So they even mentioned that it's pros that are really the issue here. So what are they doing? Oh dear God. So, his Q is getting buffed base damage wise, but it's now based on bonus AD. But overall, the scaling seems worse. The minion monster damage is less. The Q now restores 15 mana, which is nice. So tier 2, getting not giga nerfed, but very kind of nerfed. Tier 2 at 125 stacks number of projectiles is now harder. So you have a better initial stack count, but takes longer. And then tier 3, oh god, oh no, what are they doing? Excuse me. This is how much infinite true damage burn you're getting. This is it's getting halved, and then scaling more off of AD, and now the AP is gone. I think overall the Q's nerfed. I mean, the mana's nice, but, you know, if you're going to give us mana but take away everything else, ugh. So the W is going up in cost later on. Mana cost glob damage is now fully 80, so they do not want him building AP. The explosion damage, so, you know, goodbye ring users, right? Doran's ring, bye-bye. Explosion damage is now, I think, better, actually. What the hell? Okay. And then combined damage is kind of less. Wait. It's 250 to 220, so they're losing 30. But the bonus AD is going up like crazy. But the AP is getting nerfed, which again, they're really heavily incentivizing him not to build AP, which is fine. The W might actually be kind of buffed. Holy shit. And then the E, I don't know why they're even touching this. Now it's getting nerfed for some reason, even though the total AD is going up. Number of attacks is now easier to do. Damage indicator tracks combined damage. Wow. And then his ult is basically on a great cooldown at all ranks, and it doesn't clear as many minions. Okay, so some compensatory buffs for sure. But the main problem is his Q. I don't like his Q. They're kind of trying to front load a lot of damage into W to compensate, but I think that kind of takes away from the people who really like Smolder and just want to like scale and stack. Which now, again, it's kind of like the Kale treatment. Kale sacrificed a lot of her late game potential to kind of help her out in the early game. This is where we're sacrificing Smolder's like scaling fantasy, stacking fantasy. It's still there, but it's just less. I don't know if this is a good thing. I do think Smolder's really bad though. The Kench. I think Kench is low-key really OP. I think he's really good at doing damage. He basically has 2 health bars, kind of. Kind of similar to Kled and not really to Mord per se. God, it's taking the energy out of me, especially with work coming. But I think Tom's really good. I would not be surprised if I saw nerf. Kench's top lane hybrid HP plus AP build is starting to catch on, and it's really, really strong. I would not doubt it. Tom Kench, for some odd reason with the way his kit is, he's really good at 1v1ing. Like, holy fucking shit. It's like Pike passive with, I forgot who I said before, but it's just insane. Like, oh yeah, Kled. It's like Kled and Pike passive had a baby, but, with Mord. But yeah, man, oh my god. While he's meant to be tempted to build greedy AP items, it's shown me good when he's quite ahead and not looking to support his teammates, which he never is. So we're nerfing it down to a more reasonable power level. So this is where I've actually heard, I believe, Riot August confirm this as well. I don't have the clip, so don't ask me for the Carfax, but I believe he said one of his biggest things with Tom Kench is he just would have removed his ability to go support at all and just kept him a top laner. And I think that's where he's better at too. I think this is the one of the few times where the League community won, where they forced Riot to bend to their will, and they made Tom Kench a support, because obviously they did not want to, based on what we know now. So what are they doing? So the passive is now scaling off his bonus. Oh no, that's already there. AP's getting nerfed and nothing else. Cool. Then the R shield strength is getting heavy Giga AP nerfed. Cool. His AP is not as good. That's fine. Less fun, but fine. Tito! What do we think of Tito? I honestly don't know. I've seen Teemo a little bit more because of the VGU. Or sorry, ASU pretty much. I still don't think he's good though. I think Teemo kind of sucks. Every Teemo I've faced, I've killed horribly. Teemo is a menace in the jungle right now thanks to a specific jungle damage mods. We'll be tuning them down. Okay, cool. That's that. And then, damn, we really got to Zac, too. What are they doing to Zac? I feel like Zac is weird. So, in Clash, one of the people kept using Zac top, and we were winning. So, maybe it might be too good. Maybe he's meta-abusing. Who knows? Zac is interesting. I'm sad that he can only go jungle. I mean, the only thing that really kind of helps him with that is his E. Excuse me, I think if you change the E, he'd be a terrible jungler, obviously. But I don't mind him going other lanes. I think it's interesting. Although, it kind of sucks with the passive. Zac is overbearing in the top lane right now. He's due for a nerf for lowering some of his burst to damage. He just need that given how disruptive he already is. Yeah, he does a lot of damage. It's kind of the same thing with the Mumu, where you could build Liandry's on a Mumu and I feel like on Zac, and that's pretty much the only damage item you'll ever need. If you're trying to be like competitive in meta. Either way, our goal is to change this little impact on jungle performance so we can reliably graph every blob. Oh, compared to top lane where he takes less frequent trades and the burst becomes much more oppressive. So the Q is getting nerfed. Wow. Interesting. Slightly burst, nothing crazy to say here. Okay, fine, the items. Collector. Collector's interesting. I think it's one of the few items that's still decently good. Obviously, you want to get it early, lethality, even though they reworked that too. But, you know, it gives some pennies early if you kill them, but it's basically like, hey, I just need to kill someone. and I want damage. I don't want like on hit every third proc with Kraken or some other nonsense like scaling crit. I want damage. You get Collector for that. Again, mainly because of the lethality. What are they doing? The Collector is currently the most built item in the game, and it's overbearing compared to other DMs. So you know what you do? Raise them up. Don't nerf this. Of course, eventually you're gonna have to do a major, power creep balance patch again. But for a game that's been alive as long as League has, I think it's okay to have a couple. Anyway, this is mostly driven by Yuntal being too weak. So again, they are confirming, obviously, Yuntal wants to be a first item competitor. We're giving Collector a very small nerf and delivering a very much larger buff to Yuntal. I hope so. Obviously the main starters from what they say are Collector, Essence, Reaver, and Yuntal. We gotta see what they're doing to Yuntal. They're literally adding 50 gold to Collector, nothing crazy. You're just gonna stand shop a little bit more if you don't have it. Youmuu's. So, I really don't know what to say about this. They've buffed it, I think, a lot. And it might be good now. Who knows? I haven't really seen Assassins running around. Again, playing a lot of TFT. Youmuu's Ghostblaze at risk of becoming the preferred item for several ranged hybrid attack casters. We like to make sure they're more about repeated damage than burst. We're also wary of ranged champions simply running around too quickly, since catching them in the first place is critical to their counterplay. As such, we're nerfing some of the bonuses. Oh, wow, so they're nerfing this shit. So now it's worse for ranged. God damn it. Yeah, it's just overall worse for ranged. Motherfucker. Fuck Youmuu's. Yuntal, what are they doing? Yuntal Wild has gathered a small audience of crit auto attackers, but it's a bit too weak to actually be worth buying. Yes. So they're reducing the price, which is whatever. The flurry cooldown is a lot less, which is fine. And then the flurry attack speed duration is higher. Well, they're definitely leaning more into its niche. Do I think it's good? I don't know. We gotta see. Again, Collector gives you damage, which is the main thing you want on most ADs anyway, that early. It makes a lot of the early game bearable. Having attack speed makes it miserable. But either way, what are they doing? Well, just to kind of leave off on Yuntal, obviously it is way better in the new iteration. This is like the peak of what it's been in the new iteration, but I wish they would go back to the old one where it applied bleed for Jhin. Bounty adjustments. I am not reading too much of these. I'll skim them. Wait, am I tired? So they're just adjusting the bounties. Interesting. I feel like this is such a balancing act. It's so hard. Objective bounties, maximum possible contributions have been doubled. Oh, and then champion bounties, devaluation is now more aggressive. It'll kick in sooner. Huh. Balances contribute towards positive. Okay, so bounty adjustments. I'll be honest, I'm too tired to really get to the nitty gritty of this, but it seems like they're making it not as snowbally. So they're trying to slow the game down, I guess, again. Maybe. ARAM. Oh my god, this is the one I would usually skip. Let me actually skim it. Thank you for joining the product. Thank you so much for your feedback in the new map. We're glad to work. Again, to kind of just reiterate my statements on ARAM, bring back the old map 2 with Butcher's Bridge, keep this new one, Bridge of Progress, and just either rotate them, worst case scenario, sell them to us, but just have it be random maps. I don't get it. We hope you all been enjoying the ARAM Bridge of Progress update in this patch. We'll be doing some work to address player feedback, seeing throughout the community, make sure ARAM still feels like ARAM. Addressing aspects regarding visual clarity and gameplay. Okay, cool. System change. Okay, so what are they doing? Inhibitor buffs have been a polarizing mechanic. They've been too warping to ARAM, letting teams with overwhelming force without giving the opponent a chance to respond. I feel like games when you get inhib either end instantly or last a long ass time. Depending on, again, the random aspect, and I'm always going to echo this, I'm always going to repeat this. For something like ARAM, you don't want it to be that balanced because it takes the fun out of the way. Like, it's going to be unfair at some points because it's fully random. You might get cucked. We can't hold people's hands through everything, which is what League definitely wants to do, sadly. Either way, finally earning Pokemon melee speed zone, stagnant. We're nerfing the speed zones and increasing death timers. Wow. So the speed zone is getting lowered. I think that's fine. Death timers are going up by 1 second early. Fine. Inhibitor buff duration is lesser. Raid boss. Okay, and this is the specific ones here. So raid boss is getting giga nerfed. Mad scientist, whatever. Blah blah blah. Okay, cool. So Piltover buff, UX update. The Piltover buff now highlight the summoner spell. Cool. And then map changes. Terrain move pillar outer from Terra Barrier, blah blah blah. I'm not reading all this. Champion adjustments. Tanks and Bruisers have been rising to the top of Avon for a while. Crazy. And then obviously Bridge of Progress helped them because of all the buffs we just mentioned, which is Raid Boss. That's one really good one too. Anyway, Volibear W2 healing is getting nerfed. Since getting nerfed, York is getting nerfed. Oh wait, are they getting nerfed? Wait, Voli W2 healing. I didn't even look at these things. Okay, Singed is kind of getting nerfed. God damn it. Volibear is getting nerfed. Yorick, please don't nerf Yorick. Oh my god, they're nerfing him. They're nerfing him so much. Holy shit. And then minor adjustments. Blade is getting buffed. Crazy. And then Kraken Slayer is getting slightly buffed. Cool. Well, not even slightly. Holy shit, it's 150 to 225. My god. Essence Emporium is coming back. Whoopee. I don't have too much, but hopefully something. Thick Shop rotation. Cool. The Kindred Skins leaving, whatever. No, sorry, Swain. And then bug fixes. Who cares? And finally, to get to the skins. So, we have the legendary for Vi, which I don't know how this is legendary, but it is. Then we have Arcane Commander Caitlyn, which I think looks really fucking cool. I don't use Caitlyn. Then we get Arcane Shimmer Lab Singe. So this is, I think, a callback to Season 1. Could be Season 2, unsure. Arcane Survivor Jace, which is the quote-unquote spoiler one. This looks really fucking cool. And then, this is also a legendary, I believe. And then Prestige Arcane Commander Caitlyn. Pretty nice. You know, we're getting young Caitlyn. Very, very cool. And then here's the chromas. Let me look at this. Ugh, okay. So, the Prestige one looks interesting. And then the Arcane Commander. Arcane Commander looks... Huh. Yeah, this shit definitely looks Prestige. Interesting looking skin. Surprised they didn't give it for free, though. Very surprised they didn't give it for free. Either way, though, that's the patch. Kind of a short one. Chocked full of fucking champion updates, but that's pretty much it. I mean, overall, I like what they're doing with griefing, and I'm going to try and take the patch, obviously, holistically. I like what they do with griefing. QR code is nice. Mbessa said they're not touching her. Aurora's getting smacked over the head, but I think better. Azir, no one cares. Caitlyn, good. Jinx, good for me, I guess. Kha'Zix's good, he's getting nerfed. Kog'Maw, sad he's getting nerfed and no buffed. Yi's slightly getting buffed. MF slightly getting buffed. Rammus, whatever. Rel, huge, but I think worse overall. Rengar, pretty good. Shiv, ass. This one, I think personally kind of ass as well, but different, not fully ass. Well, more different to you like W. Tom Kench, a little bit of a nerf, but whatever. Tito, no one cares. Zach, whatever. So honestly, pretty whatever patch. I mean, I don't like seeing all the nerfs. So honestly, this patch got me a little bit annoyed. I'm gonna give this one probably a 4 out of 10 Mark Merrills. I don't think it was that good. I really just like, there was good stuff. Again, that's why it's not below a 4. 5 is neutral. 4 is like, not too good. But, you know, whatever. I'll do a 4 Mark Merrills out of 10. Either way, I hope everyone enjoyed. I hope you watched my Twitch TV / Tecnics channel. And I hope you tell me what you think. I'm gonna cry before going to work.